Today, I will share on a topic that is close to our parenting hearts. A topic that brings about a myriad of emotions and perspectives. Yes, let's get talking about education.
When we hear the word education, it naturally brings exams and grades to our minds. Today, we will not be focusing on the merits or the troubles with our system. Instead, we will look at the role we as parents can play in the educational experience of our children. Please indulge me for a while to reflect on this scenario I am sharing.
Imagine this: an adult developmental guideline. At age 35, you must be able to code a computer program, whether you are keen to or are able to. Your spouse thinks you may want to do better in the job and signs you up for courses after work. After all, the market is very competitive.
We may find this far-fetched, but this is what our kids face.
They are told that they must be able to read by a certain age. If not, something is wrong. And this age is getting lower and lower. Parents, well-meaning as we can be, sign them up for an array of classes which they may or may not be coping with.
Many of us sincerely want our children to have a positive learning experience, but we do worry about performance indicators such as grades. In addition to school performance, we are told that grades alone are not enough. Our kids need to have more. And we as concerned, invested parents then try and send them to highly valued learning such as music, STEM, robotics, coding, and the list goes on.
Where I am getting to with this is, as parents, we desire what is best for our children. Our intent is born out of love for the child. But have we made the child part of the very equation of which they are a key component? Can we then be more intentional about this?
I am not encouraging a situation where we as parents allow a free rein for the child to make decisions that have significant impact on his future. But rather, do we let the child lead us in helping us shape his educational journey and experience?
There aren't any formulas out there. In fact, social media and the industries benefiting are not making it easier for us parents. It can be really noisy, with various voices clamoring to influence us. But I do hope that the pointers I have brought up can serve as a springboard for reflection and discussion in your home. Now, I will share how I approach education for my children. I have 4 young ones, aged 9, 5, 3, and 9 months. I am currently homeschooling my preschooler. I homeschooled my 9-year-old till the end of primary 2, when she then expressed desire to join a mainstream school.
I try to take a whole child approach to educating my children. We try our best to look at emotional, social, and academic needs of a child in an integrated manner when we plan or make decisions, or at least we try our best to. This approach aims to ensure a child feels safe, engaged, supported, and adequately challenged.
A mantra I keep reminding myself is I cannot change the system. However, I have the power to change the kind of experience my children will have in their educational journey. Hence, I prefer a holistic approach to learning versus the traditional test-centric, standardized form of teaching and learning. This approach is more of a mindset than a method.
I will share some of the principles behind this mindset which I have found helpful.
Firstly, we choose to value outcomes other than quantifiable ones such as grades, so that it enables us to foster a spirit of relaxation and curiosity when approaching academics. I share with my kids that the score only reflects how much they have understood at this point. It does not define their ability in a subject matter. These scores can be improved through various means. This promotes a growth mindset and helps them to approach life with a more problem-solving mentality. It also helps to stop the child from feeling like, I can't do this, or I'm lousy at this. When we are not outcome focused, we feel less stress, and the kids will feel it too and begin to enjoy learning. My girl is mildly dyslexic with a slightly weak working memory, so spelling can be a challenge. Memorizing or the usual methods didn't quite work for her initially. I had to find a method that worked with her versus trying to get her to cope with the standard methods of learning spelling.
I also had to work on her emotional state because she was feeling frustrated. I had to share with her that her brains are wired differently and that we will work together to help her sort out her spelling.
Fast forward to these days, she has spelling tests. I encourage her to make stories around the letters in the word to aid retention, especially for sight words. We practice, and I remind her to do her best, and that is really enough. The test scores do not indicate her intelligence or her potential. It tells us what we need to do. We take it as a feedback. I also remind her that just because we worked hard, not everything has to turn out fine. I am glad her teachers partner with me and share similar belief systems. So when she first started spelling, the teacher, knowing her situation, told us to focus only on the words tested as opposed to the 10 words in the list. These days, she is able to master 8 out of the 10 words. My girl and I often talk about how she has grown in this area and how she feels. In our chats, I constantly tell her that the end outcome, while relevant, isn't the most important thing. The process, the journey, and the experience are key.
I feel for kids to develop into lifelong learners with the right disposition, we as parents need to be curious about the way they think as compared to just being concerned about their grades. So for example, when they show me a math solution, I am keen to know how they solved it and how they approached it and why they did so, even if the answer is right.
Sometimes I could have approached it differently and arrived at the same answer. This leads to many interesting conversations in our home. When I observe them working at a problem or learning something, I like to look at their expressions. It often tells me how they struggle through some of it. If they like productive struggle, or if they give up easily. I then ask them to share the process with me, rather than be solely concerned about the answer or the outcome.
I find that a child needs to be engaged in learning, and I try and make learning as relevant to their lives as possible.
From a young age, we show them how the various subjects are relevant to our daily lives. The concepts or information that is taught, it is not just for use during examinations, but they have direct relevance to our lives. So for example, we need to know how to count things. We need to know how to measure before we can buy, say, a cabinet. We need to understand fractions to bake. When we take a walk outside and we notice the roots of a tree, we can talk to them about the function of roots. This makes them naturally curious and interested.
We may have often heard that there aren't manuals to raise children, but we do. The child is the manual, he or she is the map. And this has been very liberating for me. I had the opportunity to read Montessori and attachment parenting, which we have always exhorted to follow the child's leads. Over the years, I have read some parenting books as well. While these have been helpful, I found it most useful to observe my children because each one is unique. The child is the map, so we look at the child. It's a moment-by-moment parenting, not a plan X for a child. To do this, we need to move away from labels and curriculums and towards the child. We navigate the educational landscape according to the child, to the map she gives us.
To know the child and read his or her cues, we need to spend time with them. Involvement is key. Children are very perceptive if we have an agenda to get them to talk, or if we are keen to hear them and are genuinely curious about them. Spending time doing things they are interested in, and we can bring that to education as well. If they face a roadblock in learning, I tell my daughter that I'm keen to hear her input about how we can go about this. I like to give her a voice and at the same time to get her to think through solutions. Talking to the children, observing them, being curious about their thinking, ideas, and opinions helps us to get to know them better. During these conversations, I try my best to withhold judgments. These conversations give me opportunities to also share with her any concerns I may have for her. For example, I could share with her that at some point you need to learn your times table. Let's see how we can go about it and how it may matter to the things you care about. Spending time can be so challenging for many of us. We come with different circumstances, such as work from home, double hatting at home as one spouse may have a demanding career, multiple kids, etc. For me, with the birth of my fourth one and meeting his needs has meant I get lesser time with the rest. This did make it difficult for me to know what they are going through. So, yes, I spoke to other moms to bounce ideas on how to be creative in carving out time with the other kids. For now, we read together, play some games, and have chats while I feed the baby. Knowing and meeting emotional needs leads to a feeling of safety and trust. So spending time building relationship is important to help our children face the challenges that may come with learning. This is so vital to the well-being of any child, which then helps them navigate the stresses of daily life and education. I have to do daily temperature checks and scan my home to get a pulse of how my children are feeling, what they are going through. Are they seeking attention? Their behaviors give us subtle cues. Children are generally willing to share if they feel respected and if they have the language to do so. My older girl is very articulate and self-aware about her emotions and is willing to share. My boy, who is 5, however, lacks the language and he does not seem to like to talk about his feelings as much. So now I try and give him a set of colors, with each color representing a feeling, and tell him to shade his heart. This helps to serve as a springboard for him to open up. A child who feels loved, accepted, and respected will find his or her giftings, if not now, someday. The schools will ensure content is tested and concepts are mastered. We as parents have the privilege to give them a positive educational experience that doesn't merely culminate in good grades, but an education that shapes the mind and kindles the spirit. We give them the wings of perseverance, resilience, compassion, humility, and above all, faith in themselves. Once again, thank you for joining me.
Most of us.